Hi everyone, welcome back to Healthier with Elizabeth, and today I want to speak about the what can you expect from this series. So the type of topics I'm going to cover will very much draw on my experience as a naturopath in community and in private practice over the last almost 15 years now. I'll also be drawing on the different pieces of education, the different modalities that I work with, but that I've studied along the way. Some of them I don't anymore. Some of them have just formed part of my journey. For example, I have a master's in public health, but I don't work in research in public health so much anymore. It's useful though if I'm looking at research studies and trying to sort of understand the data, then I can draw on what I learned there. I also have a background working in research, so having a peek behind the curtain of how kind of research institutes work, how research and scientific methods are used to sort of discover things, but what else goes into that? It's not a case of people just sitting around researching what they want. There's politics behind that, there's funding, there's lots of different pieces. So at some point I can speak to that experience as well. But yeah, generally I will be covering what I hope is pieces of information that are interesting to you that you can apply to your everyday life. So most of the episodes, this is what I'm envisaging right now anyway, right at the beginning of creating this, are going to have a purpose that involves sort of tips or tricks or, how there'll probably be like a story or something leading into it. And then I'll get into the tips and tricks and bits and pieces that I have found have worked for me. Sometimes they're quite personal. I've actually gone ahead and started recording some of the regular episodes, and there'll be things that are triggered in my life, interactions I've had with my kid or something like that, and then speaking to, well, how am I handling that? These are the things that I'm doing. But then, I'll talk to experiences with clients, more or less case studies, but obviously nothing identifying. But this is all about trying to get ideas and bits and pieces out that are of use to you, the listener, or the watcher if you're on YouTube, or the reader if you're on the blog. So there will be times where I will skim topics because I want to bring a whole lot of things in, but then hone in on a piece. For example, Chinese medicine. There you can create an entire career and decades and still not have mastered of work and experience and studying and still not have mastered Chinese medicine. So I'm not going to be disseminating a course that means that you'll become an expert, but what I might want to do is hone in on a certain theory, tie it in with natural medicine, and then get to, well, how does that work for you? So I will try and kind of break it down and then at the same time curate it to make it really easy and smooth, but might leave a whole lot out and just make it clear that what I'm taking is a tiny piece of the pie for that particular episode because this is the bit that I want you to know. So I hope that makes sense. That's sort of it will become a lot clearer as we go along. But I also might go deep though, might take some deep dives into concepts. There's so much I've found as someone who has come from a naturopathy background and then taken on a traditional Chinese medicine diploma and added that to my wheelhouse, and having that extra layer, I've just found it so useful and practical to understand certain health conditions or certain concepts that sometimes naturopathy hasn't been able to touch, and vice versa. There are elements of naturopathy that I find go afar, are covering health concepts in a way that enhance Chinese medicine approach. So yeah, anyway, that's the kind of way that I will be working. And yeah, I've only just mentioned naturopathy and Chinese medicine. You know, my great love is crystal essences actually, and vibrational medicine. So yeah, that's going to be layered on top. So yeah, anyway, lots of different things to talk about. What else? Okay, what I might though list is some of the areas or the modalities that I will speak from. So because some of you will be interested in some modalities, others won't be of interest to you, but yeah, just in case, this is sort of a scratch list of what kind of knowledge you can expect. Oh, there's a loud truck going past. So I hope that doesn't affect the sound recording. Okay, they've gone. So yeah, as I said, naturopathy, Chinese medicine, crystal essences, vibrational medicine, so that includes things like flower essences, are a big part of how I work. But I also will be talking to Western herbs. I speak to Chinese herbs as well, but particularly the patented formulas. So that's where I tend to, as opposed to single herbs, there's a few that I work with, but yeah, I work more with the single Western herbs. And, you know, as part of my life journey when I was living in Montreal and actually studying Chinese medicine, the school that I was at, École Setsuko, brilliant school, by the way. If you're West Island, NDG area in Montreal and you're interested in studying natural medicine, Chinese medicine, then that is the school to go to. Anyway, they also had a herbalist come through and take us on herb walks, which was just brilliant. Like, it was actually weeds that we were looking at, most of them. But, you know, medicinal weeds, dandelion, motherwort, St. John's wort, we had burdock, we had all these sorts of different weeds that you would just sort of see growing in parks, or in forests, but, you know, take them, turn them into tinctures, turn them into teas. Obviously, don't take them if you're not supposed to be picking in that area. But yeah, anyway, my experience with herbs was very much expanded in those years when I was studying there, because I went from just knowing conceptually the herb in the bottle. In fact, my teacher, when I told her why I was there, I wanted to understand the herb and meet the herb. She's like, oh, we call you a bottle herbalist. And I was like, yeah, I am. I can tell you, you know, this is an adaptogen, this does that, but would I be able to tell you where that herb is and what it looks like and how it grows? No. So that's what I wanted to learn, and I did. It was really great. Montreal is such a lush environment for wildcrafted herbs, and yeah, in sort of North America, it's a really gorgeous place to be. And I just had so much fun with understanding herbs. And I will talk to you about sort of some of the herb walks I used to do in our neighborhood, and yeah, the experiences with my kids, and just anyway. So that's sort of where, for example, I might go deep into a particular modality. So Western herbs as an example. Yeah, I'll cover the naturopathic lifestyle principles. I do work with some supplements, pills and potions like that, but I am moving away from that. I just find I'm not necessarily interested in these very over-processed, extracted supplement formulas that have a lot of pieces in them. I'd much prefer to go with, you know, a tincture of an entire herb or whatever that is going to settle within the body, and not ask the body to do a lot of absorbing and processing and transforming. And, you know, so that sort of, to give you an idea, I don't really go with these, you know, fandangled clinical formulations that have come from like a lab. Some of them are great, I'm sure, and there are naturopaths out there are health professionals out there that is how they work and they get great results. But for me, I come from a different approach. So we'll get more into that later. Now, nutrition is an interesting one because I went through the university. I did a degree at Curtin University, a nutrition degree. So it's basically 3 years, a 3-year degree, and then there was an option to go on and do a year of dietetics to become a dietitian. So I'm telling you that because I've got sort of the basics of a dietitian's background. I went on and did health promotion and public health instead of dietetics, but just to give you that concept, I've got the very science-based nutrition course, and then I have nutrition though through naturopathy and Chinese medicine. So I'm going to bring all of those pieces in and speak from those different points of view when it comes to food and your body and how you're going to be able to how you can sort of practically hone in on these different ideas and just try them out if you want. Talk to your health professional, see if they're going to work for you, but otherwise try them out. So let me get through this list. Where I want to emphasize, I guess, is that I'm going to be looking at evidence-based, but I'm also going to be looking at vintage approaches, old knowledge. There's a lot of value in those, and funnily enough, you sometimes find that science has just discovered this amazing new thing, and you'll sort of go back to a hippie nutrition and herb and naturopathy book from the 70s, and they've already spoken about it there. So not everything. It's sometimes nice to have it backed up and I guess proven through the scientific lens, but I don't necessarily find that if you're completely evidence-based, it's of use to health and healing. It's, that's a whole other kettle of fish. But anyway, just letting you know that we'll be looking from multiple perspectives. I also like to use quite regularly homeopathy. I, in particular, am attracted to a kind of homeopathy that's called isopathy or tautopathy, where if you've had a reaction to something in particular, let's say it's a medication or a stressor, then we take that particular element and it's potentized in a homeopathic formulation, and then we're calming your body's reaction down using that substance. So I'll speak a lot more to that, but I've had some great results with that form of homeopathy. I do use a bit of the traditional Hahnemann's approach, but I work more with that other side of it. But I will explain more about that later. And traditional Chinese medicine. So as part of my course and as part of the way people see me is if you see me in person, you'll get the health consultation and then you'll get some body work, acupressure usually. So that is like acupuncture, but no needles, but we're pressing the same meridian points. We're moving the chi. We are addressing imbalances, and really, really effective. And this is when I work with people online, so I'm not able to give them any body work. As part of our work, I encourage them to go and get body work, so acupuncture or something that's going to move the chi and the energy as well. Bowen, Reiki, Shiatsu. I want people to be getting that body work as we make changes to their diet and lifestyle and to get them back on track with their health. So that's how important it is to me, in that I see it work so beautifully and fast as well when you're already doing the body work to encourage the changes that you're making to assimilate. Let me see. I also have, sorry, I'm just looking at my notes. Oh yeah, tissue salts, so Schussler tissue salts, cell salts, that's about a big way about the way that I work. Those are micro minerals. They're at a molecular level. They work best when you take them under the tongue, so they absorb straight into the bloodstream via the mouth. So they're not going into the digestive system and trying to compete with other nutrients there. No, you get them straight in, and they're so tiny that they go in beautifully. I will talk to how I use those with clients. There are practitioners out there that's all that they do. And they do, say, facial diagnosis as well, where they can look at you and go, you're deficient in this mineral. And so, and this is also reflecting in your health and your wellness and your disease states. So let's give you that mineral in 3 months and see how you go. So I will speak to those. Those are really, really cool. And again, they do actually work really nicely with my philosophies around working at a more minute level, at the vibrational level, at the energy level, at the, molecular level then, I guess. So to influence the health and wellness of the body. And, finally, my great love, crystal essences. So these help with the emotional and psychological terrain. They connect you to your spirit. So I am a big believer that we can fix you up physically. I can balance you. I can throw that herb in. I can get you sleeping. I can get your nervous system under control. We can work with your diet and lifestyle. But if there is a emotional block or a fixed way of being, a subconscious programming, something that you picked up in childhood and it's still influencing the way that you approach the world, the way that you react to different people or different situations, and then that is related to your journey of going out of health or going out of balance, we can help you out physically, but unless we transform that side of it, you'll probably just end up where you were. So this is where working on the emotional terrain, the spiritual and psychological terrain is really, really helpful. So there's lots of therapies out there that can do this, but for me, I like to throw in the crystal essences. The Vintage Health Crystal Essences is a tool that I've created. I will speak more to that, but essentially I work from the place of you intuitively or instinctually know what you need, and so we are using that side of your knowledge to decide which crystal essences or which blends are right for you. So I'll walk you through the process. It's not, you don't have to get this one right, but I work differently to other therapists who might work with these vibrational medicines like flower essences or crystal essences, where often we are schooled in learning the essence and then we hear the client's needs, and then we decide which essence is going to fit the picture. And that can work beautifully. Oh, there goes that truck. Sorry guys, I hope that wasn't too loud. I have no idea actually. I'm wearing a microphone with a little fuzzy thing on it. I'm hoping that actually is muffling anything that's not a close noise. But yeah, if you just heard a truck go past, sorry about that. But anyway, that approach can work really well, but I like the way that I like doing it where my interpretation, my experiences are not clouding the choosing of the crystal essence process. So I will speak more to that, but it's very intuitive based process working with the Vintage Health Crystal Essences. So yeah, I think, and then other than that, I tie all of this up within a context of sharing about my life, my personal experiences. I'm a mum, I'm married, I've been married to my beloved for about 15 years. We have lived in a couple of different locations around the world. We actually met in Asia, then we went and did just over a decade in Canada, and then about 4 years ago we moved here to Western Australia. So there's much to explore and to speak of, and kind of speak of with a purpose. So that's what I want you to come away from with this, is that anytime if I start a story and you're like, where is she going with this, I promise you there'll be a purpose. So this, everything that I talk to will be covered in my storytelling way, and it's often a spur of the moment approach. So having this sort of neuro-sparkly side means that I need to keep myself interested. I also will have the most sort of ideas and cohesive ideas and putting it all together for you in the moment if I can stop, which is also why you will find some of this information might only be audio. I'll be recording just before I'm going into a yoga class because I've just thought of something or done something or had an experience. So I'll be sitting in my car and recording the audio. So I'll still disseminate that information on YouTube, but you'll find that you'll be staring at a thumbnail of the podcast, of Healthier with Elizabeth, the advertising thumbnail. It won't necessarily be me on video. But for these first few intro episodes, I really was committed to videoing them. And so you can see me and get to know me and see if I'm someone that you want to follow. So, and hear more from. So I think that's it. Any questions, let me know. You can email me, elizabeth@vintagehealth.com.au. There's a contact form through my website, which is vintagehealth, all one word, .com.au. I'm on YouTube, I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok, and I'm on podcast platforms. So, there's different ways that you can certainly reach out. If you've got any questions, if there's any particular topics that you would like me to cover, would love to hear. And subscribe where you are to the series Healthier with Elizabeth. Okay, bye for now.